Next item on the agenda is the discussion on a consideration for a city-owned and operate a waste transfer station.
Mayor, this transfer station, is my understanding, and according to the notes and some of the memorandums I've seen in the past, it's been discussed by the staff and I think at least addressed to some extent by the city council going back approximately a year. And I think Public Works Director Richard Parnell has done a great job on providing some information going back that 8 months to a year ago. And more recently, the last 5 to 6 months, not much activity there. And purpose of this request really is just to get authorization from the City Council to review those numbers, bring them up to date, make sure they're still valid numbers, and kind of package the whole possibility of a transfer station. And I'm not asking for permission or how you feel about whether it's a good idea or a bad idea, and I have no such opinion right here today. But we need to look at the numbers, bring them up to speed right now, look at the financing options, the business plan, and bring you those numbers as much in focus as we possibly can. It'll probably take us 4 to 6 weeks to do that, and then see what further questions that the City Council may have, and then we can revisit those issues at the time. I think this is probably best categorized as this is an effort to find some new revenue for Roanoke Rapids. There are not always a lot of options out there. I think we have some limitations in that regard. This is a possibility, but until we kind of detail and more formalize that business plan and some of the revenue and expenses and the financing options, we won't really know whether it's a good idea or doesn't make any sense. So like I said, I don't want to get off track. If there's an interest, a genuine interest by the City Council to pursue this, I'd just like to have your authorization to go ahead and spend some staff time in that regard, get together a good packet for you with this information, and just bring you the first set of basic facts so that you can have some good information. And I'm sure you'll have lots of questions. In fact, I'll be surprised if you don't. And I'm sure after we review that, we'll have to go back and do some more research, which is entirely appropriate. We'd like to take that first step just to get the ball rolling and have that discussion. Lots of aspects to this issue, some political, most of them financial, operational, pretty much every issue you can come up with, it'll be here. So it'll be a long, I said long, take several months to kind of get, I think, an answer to all those questions and move forward. So I just think we need to start if that's the will of the council, and I'm just looking for that direction to the staff.
Does any council member have any questions for Paul on his comments so far?
I have a few.
Okay.
If it's okay with the council, I'd like to see you explore a collaboration with the county, Paul. I know that probably less than a year ago, we passed a resolution basically supporting the contract they have with Waste Industries. I think it's a 5-year contract. And in that contract, they include our waste stream that helped to get the price that they have now. And they've been exploring a transfer station, and I think it'd be a good partnership if we could somehow collaborate with the county in forming this, and it'd be a revenue generator for Roanoke Rapids. So if you could do that, maybe get with Tony and sit down, if it's okay with the council, sit down and talk, and while you're exploring this issue.
I feel just obvious. I think we ought to do our own study and get facts, and then if we don't like those facts, look elsewhere. But right now, we need to do our own thing instead of getting everybody else involved with it.
Ed, you have any comments?
I agree with Ernie. I think that we ought to go ahead and look at it on our own, and if we find it feasible to get involved with the county, then we might have to do so. But I think Paul ought to be given permission to pursue it for Roanoke Rapids.
Ed, on the other end?
Well, I believe we can involve the county if that's the direction we need to go. That could be part of this whole investigating process. We don't have to be tied to go one route or the other, but I think Paul should be given a little leeway to do what he thinks is best for Roanoke Rapids. And if that does involve the county, then it's fine. And if not, that's fine.
Okay. The only comment that I have would be this. I would favor the transfer station, and I would favor allowing the city manager to go ahead and proceed with the study, because I think that's gonna tell us a lot of things, whether the county's involved or not. The other thing that I would be sure and like to be added to this, that we're talking about a large sum of money, and that all discussions involving this transfer station be in open session, no closed sessions on this. And if y'all are ready for a motion, I would appreciate if you'd add that into the motion.
I'll make a motion. I move that we instruct the city manager to go forward with this study and with all proceedings be open to the public.
Okay? Do I hear a second on that motion?
I
Oh,
second.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Gil.
Mayor, the only comment is just the open session. I think certainly in the business purposes, the only thing that could be an issue, obviously, would be if there's any land acquisition or if there's a contract negotiation that might involve, some delicate matters. And because sometimes you get involved with clients and other companies. And I understand, I think everybody appreciates your desire to have everything open. And I think from staff point of view, I would certainly present everything at city council meetings. I guess if we can maybe discuss in general at the appropriate time, if there's a legal matter, give some explanation, as I think you typically do, that it just involves a real estate matter or just a narrow contractual negotiation on this. But certainly if that limit will kind of work into your motion, I think that would be a little bit safer until we just know what we're getting into.
I'm sure the city attorney will advise us which way to go.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I shall include that in your motion.
Yes, sir. Amend the motion to include what the manager said.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes carried.